DeafHear.ie, the National Association for the Deaf, works with everyone who experiences deafness or hearing loss. We're a service-providing and campaigning organisation, and we work with sign language users, hard of hearing people, parents, and people with acquired hearing loss, tinnitus, and people who use cochlear implants. The DeafHear Home Sharing Project aims to find ways to get deaf people who are isolated, who perhaps have limited communication and who may have mental health issues and no contact with the deaf community, to re-engage with the deaf people in the deaf community who are positive, confident, able individuals. So I considered how to achieve this. With this in mind, I asked the Brothers of Charity Service, who have a home sharing project, how we might link into or tap into this type of service.
I work for the Brothers of Charity Services Galway, the family support team leader with the services. Though we're very, very familiar with our home sharing scheme and our training and the forms that we use and our assessment process, we had an awful lot to learn in terms of reaching out to a deaf community. We really had to work very, very, very closely with the staff within DeafHear, and we had to be guided by them.
What happened with the project? We sought to find host families. So we invited deaf people to a meeting, and 15 people came.
A deaf person who is offering their time as a deaf mentor has a great deal to offer. However, goodwill is vital, but it's not necessarily enough, because it could be easy to be overwhelmed or worried by somebody else's difficulties. A deaf person working as a mentor needs to learn about mental health, about the sort of interpersonal skills that they are going to need on top of their own personal experience and identity. Having said that, their own life experience, their language, their role as a deaf person is the most powerful thing, but more experience and guidance can be needed.
I completed a training package entitled Studio 3 Training. This training I felt was crucial, as it's the kind of training undertaken by care workers. It's focus centered on behavior, what initiates positive or negative behavior, and if the behavior is negative, how to avoid negative behavior without criticizing the individual. One area covered was that of building and maintaining routine, and how this helps to decrease negative behavior, resulting in more positive behavior, and that was a good tool to learn of. As a happier, more comfortable individual is then more able to participate in a variety of activities without apprehension or tension.
Josie meets with me every Monday. This is good for her, as she'll learn more signs. For example, say we look at some pictures, SuperValue, and another picture beside that depicts a hospital. When we talked about the hospital, I was taken by Josie smiling. I asked her why she was smiling, but she said she loves the hospital, which I thought was good for her. She's very capable in matching up pictures of hospitals and such, but when it comes to postman and policeman, she can be a bit confused. I can understand her reasoning in that for her they look similar in colour, but in the end, she figures it out.
In my 25 years working in mental health and deafness, right from the beginning, we've always worked with culturally deaf staff. And as well as their professional clinical skills, they always have that much extra to offer because they have the same language and culture as our service users, and they are very powerful role models, both for deaf people themselves, but also for their families.
One big challenge is our differing perceptions of time and how it's managed. I know that for many deaf people, within a 2-hour period, they can complete many things and have a great time. But when I was matched with this beneficiary, I had to alter my pace, be patient, and give him plenty of time. Quality time. I remember the first time we went to the cafe. It took 2.5 hours just to go in, sit down, and order. 2.5 hours. Now, when we go for coffee, without rushing him, it takes just 45 minutes. I accompany another social worker on the assessment of the deaf individual, a potential host. It's like a social work assessment, to meet and discuss over a period of 6 weeks. I visit them, discuss their lives, their backgrounds, their school years, family history and such.
Those questions, I'd never thought. I am capable of doing this. I can. I have the power to do this.
It's a good assessment because it helps to match the host with the person he'll be caring for, to look at what common interests they may have.
In my experience, it is quite wonderful to see people who move from congregate settings into a home-from-home setting. Their behaviour changes, their needs are being met.
Now I can see improvements in the beneficiaries since they've been meeting with hosts and doing things together. Cooking meals, going out to the post office, shopping. Those are good improvements. But also what's important is that they're signing again, remembering their sign language.